let's do it. Shoot.
What's your reaction?
Happy. Happy that, as I told 30,000-foot view, as I told the guys before the game, for 15 years on that field, and look, we haven't been perfect. I think we're somewhere in the neighborhood of, 72-3 on that field, right? But every team that has come through here, as long as I've been here, 15 years, has always laid down some sort of legacy at some point on that field throughout the year. I don't think that it's the biggest game of the year. I'm not going to say that because I believe every game matters, because it's not about the team we play. With all due respect, it's about how good can we be. But after the game, I definitely told them that that's a legacy moment right there. And that's a big thing for our program. I mean, there were hundreds of alumni who were out there, and, they all bled and sweat for different points of pride in the past. And that was why I was so late coming here, was just talking to all those people. So happy, probably most happy the way our defense play. If you do a story and you don't put the words Wally Kaczynski in it, you're wrong. I'm just telling you, you're wrong. So he has done, he's sacrificed so much for this university. He's done an amazing job being a top assistant for 15 years. And, I had a really good friend who knows this program tremendously well. And he texted me last night, and said, hey, tell Wally to stop the run. My response back to him, with all due respect, was I'm fairly certain that in the last 342 days that Coach Kaczynski has not had any that he hasn't thought about stopping the Davidson run. And I think the plan that we put together today was really good, and I thought the execution was probably better than any single game execution on defense, or offense for that matter, that we've seen in the last year and a half. That's my opinion. I can't wait to watch the film, because I've been watching Davidson film a lot of years. Even before we got into the league, I've been watching it. And before that, I was watching the same system at Washington and Lee back in 2012. And I don't know if I've ever seen it slowed. It was not stopped, slowed like that.
So far, your best performance is a Division I team.
Yes, at least defensively.
Yeah.
I think there might have been a better performance earlier in the year on offense, but pretty close. But that's what it should be, right? We should be growing. And again, you don't want to hear it, but we have such a long way to go. And I'm okay saying that, because it makes everyone embrace the journey. I could have sat in that huddle post game and said, hey, victory Sunday. But I'm not going to do that. It's hey, work Sunday. We're blessed with an opportunity to work. Not everybody is. We're going to get to work. We're going to work on being a little bit better next week. Real simple. What's up, Kim?
How important is it for you guys to kind of minimize mistakes against a really good team like that?
How are you going to quantify the words I say, right? It is important, but I think they probably let us off the hook a little bit, simply because in the best defense is usually a strong, stalwart offense that eats the clock. Well, if you look back, the only drive I was really discouraged about was the first drive of the third quarter, right? 5 plays, I think it was 5 plays. We came out, we ran isolation to the open side. It hit for 12. Ball popped out of Sean's hands. Someone else recovered it. Then we ran a little off-tackle power play, and it went for 11 or 12. And then we had 2 passes vertically when they started bringing 6-man pressure that we didn't, not in a personnel grouping, to pick up. And I looked up at the clock, and it was 13 minutes and 40 seconds. And I'm like, that stunk. That stunk, right? Because to keep their team off the field, you want to get first downs. Well, those last 2 drives that they had, as long as we weren't going to give up the big one, and we did a pretty decent job with that, they ate the fourth quarter clock for us, and grateful that they did.
What are you most proud of from the team?
The team it's tough to kind of generalize it like this, but it's the team not worrying about the enormity of the opponent. It's a playoff team. It's a team that's won the last 2 league championships. It's a team whose culture is strong. and they got a 4-year head start on where we're at in terms of that. That coach has been doing it there for 6 years, whatever it is, right? So if you allow that to start to creep into your mindset, then you start focusing on the wrong things, which are things you don't control. Very proud that they worried about working hard to be the best thems they could, us as we could. And if it was good enough to have one more point than the other team, so be it. If it wasn't, so be it. But they bought all in. I mean, that was a big pull this week. And it wasn't, from a coaching point of view, it was probably biting off a little bit more than most programs would chew in terms of how we approached the week. But they believe. You can say a lot of things about our team and this weird little head coach and all this kind of stuff. You can never say they don't believe. You can say it, but you're lying.
Another opening drive for a touchdown against this team, it was huge to get out to an early lead.
Yeah, so I think we see a pattern. And we can't call a coin toss right to save our life. We are here's the types of kids I love, right? We tell, in our house, someone says, what are the odds of that? What are the odds of that? That is not a rhetorical question. That is not an idiom. We expect you to tell us what the odds of that is, right? And so we're at the walkthrough yesterday, and we always go through the coin toss. We've already lost 4, right? And I said, guys, if we win the coin toss, this is what we're going to do. I said, if we lose the coin toss, this is probably what will happen. I said, but what are the odds of losing the coin toss? And 2 different guys said 3.125, coach. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. That's a St. Thomas football player right there. It's not an idiom. But
anyway, to take the lead against them, because they don't throw it as much. They don't like to play from behind.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And you can tell that. I think it's obvious to most people. It's not a secret when you run that style of offense, right? There's a lot that the staff has to do to run that style of offense. You have to know it and you have to adjust to it. And frankly, you have to know the defenses that are going to play against you better than the defensive coordinators know. And because it's a closed system, usually they do. Then you have to recruit to it. Then you have to personnel place to. Now you're in year 1. Right? And you haven't even scratched the surface. So it's such a lot that has to go into it. Obviously, what you give up is it makes it more difficult to come from behind. And not many teams will take the ball when they win the toss, which we were going to take the ball. We usually don't take the ball. I believe in playing defense first, but we were going to in this game. And I think as much as the first drive score mattered, I think the first drive defense probably mattered even more. And I don't even know how many yards they had, but it's just you can feel it when you're playing good defense. You can absolutely feel it. And, things are a little loose in there and we get bodies to the pile and you look up and it's not a good play for us, but it's still 2nd and 7. It's not 2nd and 3, and that was a big part of, without giving anything away, because I'm not interested in giving anybody else a tip on how to win that game. But you cannot think of drives in the same exact way. And so we had to, the last 10 months killed us, but we had to change how we view success versus that team and offense specifically. And there were some growing pains. There still are growing pains, but it worked today.
This wasn't your goal, but do you think you guys sent a message to the rest of the league with this one?
I don't want to say I don't care because I don't want to be dismissive or disrespectful. That's not me. But I don't care because the kids that I care about sending a message to are the ones who are in our locker room. The ones that I care sending a message of thanks to are the alums that are out there. I mean, I think we bring a great source of pride to this department and university, and those are our constituents that I like to worry about. What I don't know what someone else is going to make of this. I will tell you what I told the guys at the end. If you think that we've arrived in some way, you could not be any more wrong. And please don't come to practice and meetings tomorrow is what I told them. Just because I don't like goodbyes. I don't like laminating things on a shelf. You just stack day on top of day on top of day. And when you're done, you just walk away and that's it. That's life, right? There's no arriving. It does give us a really nice block to build on though. And I'm interested in seeing this week, there's a lot. You play an emotional game, and I don't think this was a highly emotional game. I really don't. I think it was very stoic, stalwart, and matter of fact in terms of the approach, which is tough to do. But, we got another team that's can't wait to come in here and kick our teeth in next week in Drake, and we have homecoming. And I think that that's really important that we focus back on ourselves tomorrow because we made plenty of mistakes that we can correct.
Do you at least feel like you're in the hunt now for the championship?
I don't. I'm sure that you can write whatever you want, that people can deduce that. I don't. That's not our focus. The wins, the hunts, those are, I want us to be better next week versus Drake than we were for the last 3 hours. That's what I want. I know you roll your eyes when the coach says that, but look, you can't deny that's how our program has been built.
Yeah.
You can't deny it. So I love the fact that we have a locker room full of kids that believe that that's the way to approach life and a good football opponent or a good football league. So whatever anyone else wants to make of it, they can. I don't control them. They can think whatever they want about us. I'll worry about our constituents and the people that I know love each other.
Last thing from me, 2 running backs went down. Is it concerned that they could be out for a while?
So I don't know, and it's not that I'm saying I don't know. I really have not talked to Jim. It is concerning that they went down.
Yeah.
Okay, and we didn't handle it perfectly. There were 2 plays I wish personnel-wise on offense we could have had back in the second half. There were 2. But Hope went out, and then we thought we'd be able to get him back. And then halftime, which usually helps the injury, hurt the injury in that situation because he got cold. Sean ended up going out. I don't know the extent of that one. I know he felt good when he was on the sideline, but feeling good like regular people feeling good on the sideline and feeling good when 11 angry guys are running after you, totally different. So Gabe, I thought, performed really well. I think the offensive staff called the game in the second half to the talent really well, right? And we earned that because of the way we were able to play as a team in the first half. So Gabe goes in, but then I don't know how you can't love the story of Josh Comas. He was a 5th-year senior, right? Well, you're writing it. I mean, I don't need to be giving you the content, right? So Josh Comas, guys, that might be his first touchdown.
Yeah, it is.
No kid. Is it really?
D1, yeah.
That's awesome. So here's a guy who is the consummate Swiss Army knife. The kid plays fullback and wing. Now he plays tight end for us. We actually played quarterback in the bye week when we were light on quarterbacks, and he played quarterback in high school. And then he plays tailback. Oh, by the way, he punts for us, and he does all our special stuff on field goal PAT, not to mention the 4 special teams he's on. So he does like everything, right? And it was funny because I couldn't sleep last night, and I was thinking about Josh Comas. And I was going back to a guy we had at South Dakota. We had 24 of our old Yoke players who were in the stands today. And Rob Supich was a guy who played fullback for us and never scored. And then we put him at tailback. We ran ISO, and all of a sudden he scored a touchdown. And it was great. It was the only touchdown of his career. And Rob was out there today, and he just texted me that he loves that. And it's the same situation. I was thinking last night, Josh can carry the ball if need be. And I just didn't expect that we'd get to that. But I've said before, we need more than one running back to play the way we play. If we only have one, and I'm not going to bend on the run-pass proportionality, then Cade's going to have to run. Now, Cade ran well today, with the exception of the one. You can ask him about it when he comes in here, when he slid instead of dove. But he did phenomenal. Matter of fact, my favorite sack we ever took in 15 years at the University of St. Thomas, my favorite sack was today. Like, not all sacks are created equal. He took a sack in 4-minute offense, and we got to bleed 46 seconds, and we punted the ball 42 yards downfield, right? So he even took sacks well today when he did. But he operated at a really, really, really high level, didn't force it. I think his run on the southwest 5-yard line to put his shoulder down to pick it up, I mean, that's not one you can do all the time when you're a quarterback. At least we don't want him to. But all those guys had to contribute today. And there were a couple calls that were missed, but man, Josh Comas, he is everything that's right with our program. 5th-year senior, graduate school, already has his full-time job, and he's out there grinding it out every day in front of 7,000 people or whatever it is out there. It was really cool.